Welcome back to the most explosive courtroom drama you'll see today. We've got 3 cases that will absolutely blow your mind. First, a career criminal with 47 pages of criminal history trying to convince a fed-up judge he deserves another chance. Then, a fugitive who's been running from domestic violence charges for over a decade, using COVID as his excuse. And finally, a DWI defendant whose good intentions collide with court orders in the most devastating way possible. We're talking about repeat offenders, system failures, and judges who've had enough of the excuses. Trust me, you're going to want to grab some popcorn for this one, because the drama starts immediately and doesn't stop until the final gavel drops.
So it looks like you have a fugitive case. Oh, you picked up 3 cases. You picked up a fraudulent use of ID, less than 5 items. You picked up a theft case, and you have an out-of-state fugitive case.
One of them has been dismissed, Judge. The fraudulent use of items has
Saw
been
that.
dismissed. So technically, he's only got the theft pending and the fugitive case pending.
Mr. Kim, enlighten us.
Your Honor, this defendant is wanted out of Broward County, Florida for felony theft. The state would be opposed to a bond. There are 47 cycles of criminal history in the past 5 years alone, and these are just convictions.
47 pages of criminal history in 5 years?
47 cycles, Your Honor. For pages, it is 46 pages of criminal history.
Stop the presses! Did the prosecutor just say 47 pages of criminal history? Let me put this in perspective for you. The average person's entire life wouldn't fill 47 pages, but this defendant's criminal record does. We're talking about someone who has literally made crime their full-time career. And here's the kicker. The prosecutor says he stopped scrolling after 2020, meaning there's probably even more we don't know about. When a prosecutor has to clarify whether it's 46 or 47 pages, you know we're dealing with someone who's made the criminal justice system their second home. This isn't someone who made a few mistakes. This is a professional criminal standing before a judge who's clearly done with the
Criminal
excuses.
history, including, well, the California one's old, so I'm not going to count that one, but just in the last 5 years alone, and these are just.
They were not 47 in the last 5 years.
Hey, don't talk. I mean, we're just trying to, the thing is, Mr. Jones, is I have a very limited amount of time to try to get to know you. Everyone that comes in front of me tells me it's gumdrops and rainbows and little bunnies jumping in the woods. But the way I really get to know you is the paper, because that tells me who you are, right? If you're a dangerous person, if you're a person that I'm going to let go and you're going to continue with the criminality, I have enough trouble sleeping as it is. I don't want more blood on my hands. I don't want something else that's going to keep me up at night. So that's why. Well, but this is how we get to know you. And he's telling me you got 46 pages of criminal history.
This is why I love this judge. She just delivered one of the most honest and raw explanations of judicial decision-making I've ever heard. Everyone tells me it's gumdrops and rainbows and little bunnies jumping in the woods. But the paper tells the truth. This judge isn't playing games. She's looking at cold, hard facts. And that line about having enough trouble sleeping and not wanting more blood on my hands? That's the reality of being a judge. Every bond decision could mean the difference between public safety and another victim. She's not just processing paperwork. She's making life or death decisions that will keep her up at night. This is judicial responsibility at its most transparent and human level.
Your Honor, in the past 2 years, he's had 3 failure to appears of multiple cases. He's had 2 habitation trespass convictions, a DWLI, prostitution, battery, criminal damage, failure to appear, possession of drugs, felony, obviously, resisting. But in the 21 some odd years, it's the 47 cycles of different offenses, and I just stopped scrolling after 2020.
How many failure to appears do we have?
3, Your Honor. And this one itself is a no-show, or according to the transmission.
Hey, John, could I say something?
Sure.
Okay, with the one he come out with the failure to appear, I feel that was nonsense because of the simple fact that I flew from Fort Lauderdale up here after they said I had a warrant, and I went to court a couple days before that. And is that documented, sir? You can see that.
Judge, I will say this, he did explain that
How
to
old are you,
me.
Mr. Jones?
I'm 40 years old, sir.
You're 40.
Yes, sir.
How many cases has he picked up in total?
That he's been charged with. If you give me 10 minutes, I can count them, but it's not low. I mean, I can start from 2004.
So
if you want me to.
theoretically, for every year you've been born, you've had a case.
Hold up. Did the judge just do the math that's going to haunt this defendant forever? You're 40 years old, and you have around 46 tutors. Pages of criminal history. So literally, for every year you've been born, you've picked up a case. That's not just criminal behavior, that's a lifestyle. Think about it. While most people were learning to walk, going to school, getting jobs, and building families, this guy was apparently building a criminal empire. The prosecutor needs 10 minutes just to count all the cases. That's not a rap sheet, that's a novel. And when the defendant tries to blame the system, the judge drops the ultimate truth bomb. At some point, your actions become your own responsibility.
I have a
You're
question.
40 years old, and you
Sir.
have around 46 pages of criminal history. So literally for every year you've been born, you've like picked up a case. And not only that, you've got multiple failures to
Sometimes you don't think the jurisdiction have felt me?
Huh?
You don't think the jurisdiction have felt me?
But the problem is, at some point, your actions become your own. You now have with us, you've picked up a theft case here in Harris County. You've got an open case in another jurisdiction. You've got pages upon pages. So at what point is it on you?
When you pay your debt to society, why do they keep using it against you? I pay my debt to society for
Because
those,
it
for
continues.
those fires, okay.
Continues to happen. At some
Okay.
point, DAs are like, jail just doesn't work anymore. So that's when we got to go to prison, because this dude,
But prison don't help guys. That don't make them better. That make them worse. Instead of tormenting them and sending them and feeding them to the wolves, y'all should sit down with that person to find out what's going on to help that person. Instead of prison not helping nobody, prison is not.
I can't tell you how many stories I have read of people who get degrees, college degrees, even become a lawyer while they're in prison. So if you want it to help, then it will. But you got to want it. If you
One better than me, Your Honor.
if you
But
have-
you know the sad thing about it is, in the state of Florida with me, and that's why I left. Something happened, and I have a conflict of interest against the police. So now they're juggling at me every chance that they get. But it's crazy. He's saying I have a warrant, and I flew from there after that warrant was pro se. Pro se that they said I have. I flew from Fort Lauderdale all the way to Houston, flew back down there, and flew back. And they said I have a warrant, and I flew and went to court for another charge down there.
I don't get it.
And I went.
Here's where this case takes a fascinating turn. The defendant is claiming he flew multiple times between Florida and Texas with an active warrant, and somehow TSA, airlines, and courts let him through every single time. If this is true, we're looking at a massive system failure that spans multiple states and federal agencies. But here's the question. Is he telling the truth, or is this an elaborate story to shift blame? The fact that he's claiming conflict of interest against the police and that they're juggling at me every chance they get sounds like classic deflection. However, if someone really can fly domestically with active warrants, that's a terrifying breakdown in our security systems. What do you think? System failure or master manipulation?
And I went inside
I
the
don't know.
court.
I don't know how that happened, but it's not supposed to.
So who's the system failing? If I have a warrant, you mean to tell me they're gonna let me in their courtroom, attend to my judge, see my judge, everything, and let me go, and let me get back on the plane to fly back here? Mind you, I flew from here and flew back down there. They let me do all of this with a warrant?
I can't explain that. I can't.
Judge,
So that's the system failing somewhere, somehow. That's not me.
let me talk to the judge real fast.
But Mr. Jones, if you have this woe is me attitude, it's never going to change. It's
Y'all not
never going to
helping.
change.
Y'all not helping. It's not helping. Y'all not helping society. Y'all always blaming me and this and that and the other. Prime example, he said, oh, he got prices from here. And he went to call the stuff off that he said, well, only stopping from 2022, and he going past 2022. And I'm like, yo, but hey, but that's what the prosecutor do. He just doing his job.
Right, that's what he's doing.
Judge, if I may, sure. Points. First, if he's finished up the cases that he has had in his history, he's had a history, okay, he's had a history. If he's paid his debt to society, like he says, if he's completed what he needs to do for those cases, that really shouldn't be relevant here. I would argue that in front of you, this is his first time being in front of you, right? And it looks bad that he has a criminal history. Yes, I get that. But if we were to just focus on whether or not he knew about this case, he's telling me he got on a flight, came over here, and it's a great question. If that happened, he would have had a warrant pending and he would have been arrested.
when
So,
was the warrant issued, do you know?
March 3rd, 2025, but because it's a domestic flight, and obviously I don't work for TSA, I don't work for Department of Homeland Securities.
Just got issued.
just March 3rd, 2025, Judge.
Your warrant was just issued in March of this year. So
And I flew
30 days ago, it got issued.
and I flew March 10th back up here.
So Judge, if that's the case, it hasn't been like he's been missing his responsibilities with
And
this
I went to
case.
court. And
It's
you
less than a month.
And you can
that
also
he's had
see
this
that I had
thing
went to
pending.
court. I went to court before March 3rd.
That's why it's a failure to appear, which is.
How? I went to court. I went to court before then.
Judge, the warrant has
I was
been
in the
issued
courtroom.
we're at April 1st, less than a month. And so it's not like he's been running. If the warrant's just been issued on March 3rd, I would ask that we afford this man an opportunity to make this right. He hasn't messed up in your eyes. Yeah, he's messed up in the past, but as far as the fugitive case is concerned, I'm asking for an opportunity for him to go to the demanding jurisdiction. And then if he messes up, okay, well, I don't have much to say after that. But just throwing his history out there, it doesn't mean he doesn't deserve a chance.
I stand by the no bond.
Now this is fascinating legal strategy. The defense attorney is essentially asking the judge to ignore 47 pages of criminal history and focus only on this specific case. That's like asking someone to ignore a defendant's entire criminal career because this is his first time in front of you, Judge. It's a bold move, but when you're dealing with a client who has literally averaged one case per year of his life, what else can you do? The attorney is grasping at the timing of the warrant issue, March 3rd, 2025, trying to show his client isn't actually a flight risk. But the prosecutor isn't having it, bringing up the assault history and violent tendencies. This is courtroom chess at its finest, but when your client has 47 pages of criminal history, you're already in checkmate.
He has assaultive history as well, and it shows in the message that we received from Florida is that he has violent tendencies, obviously reflected by the assaultive history, along with and I don't have to go ad nauseum, but the significant criminal history that he has.
When were the FTAs? How long ago?
The most recent failure to appears, one moment, Judge. There's one from May 4th, 2023. There's one from December 7th, 2023. There's one from.
But it's not on this case, though. Those are separate cases. We're not talking about on this case, are we?
To be clear, it's not on this case, but.
Obviously not on this case.
Okay.
But the problem is that it keeps happening, and I can't continue to.
Sir, it's not keep happening, sir. Sir, this warrant that he said, I went to court. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have another open case. And that open case is why I flew back down there, went to court, finished court. They said I have a warrant. I go to the warrant district. They said I have no warrant. Leave the warrant district, get on the plane to fly back up here. And they said I had a warrant before I even flew on the plane back down there. So how could I fly?
Mr. Jones, even if I were to set you a bond.
Okay, no problem. Hey, take me back there, man. Can't know about this shit, man.
Easy money. There you go.
So for the second one, we're going to be, well, actually, it's going to be Ricardo's request, but
Yeah, Judge, on the,
If you want me to take it off, I will.
yeah, on the second one, let's take it off. I'm concerned about HIPAA stuff and,
Ask them to bring it back.
yes, Judge.
If you want to go through the list?
Yes, Judge. Oh, no, sorry. No, my person is,
Mr. Nelson has a warrant out of Florida. He did have a local case that was resolved this morning.
Just dismissed. Yeah, today.
Yeah, it was, actually, I think.
No, I get, he
Sir.
pled. Right, okay.
He played on that. He previously had signed a waiver 7 days ago, I think, but
March
He-
31st.
Hmm?
March 31st.
March 31st.
Oh, yesterday.
Last Friday. But anyway, his value of time is probably exaggerated. He has a warrant for Florida. He's been picked up on this before in Tennessee, and they didn't extradite him from Tennessee. They released him after 3 days. He's back in jail here in Texas now, obviously, for the same charge out of Florida, and he is a cancer patient, and he's wanting you to grant him a PR bond so he can go back to Florida.
That's where I was heading.
Really?
And now
Yeah,
we
what?
transition to our second defendant, Mr. Nelson. And folks, this story is about to get wild. We've got a cancer patient who's been running from Florida warrants. Previously caught in Tennessee, but they didn't want him. And now he's asking for a PR bond to go back to Florida. But here's the kicker. He's been picked up on this exact same charge before. This isn't his first rodeo with being a fugitive. Tennessee had him, didn't extradite him, let him go after 3 days, and now Texas has him. It's like he's playing fugitive hopscotch across state lines. The question is, does Florida actually want him, or are we dealing with another case of jurisdictional hot potato?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it just so happened that you
No,
got a failure ID as well.
but the failure ID was, they pulled a gun on the guy they were looking for, and I was at the crosswalk. I wasn't there. They weren't stopping me. They stopped another guy. They were waiting for 3 days or whatever to get him. And then yes, sir.
It doesn't matter.
This is not our first time being here on this case, Amy,
He's previously had a fugitive case in Tennessee for this.
for this same charge.
Well, just a fugitive case in general. I can't say what.
So that was in Tennessee. Now he's wanted out of Florida.
No. He had this exact same proceeding in Tennessee.
Meaning he was a fugitive in Tennessee because of Florida.
Yes, he was incarcerated in Tennessee and had a hold on him from Florida. They chose not to extradite him at that particular time, and he was released 3 or 4 days there.
How long ago was that?
How long ago was that, sir?
5, 6 years ago.
And after 5 to 6 years ago, you still haven't taken care of the case.
That was during pre-COVID, and we were coming back from Michigan, and we were on our way down, and we stopped in Tennessee. I started working at the hotel, and they came in and they said, out of the clear blue, looks like you got a warrant. And I go, what? Okay, so they took me in, they ran everything, they held me for 3 days, and they let me loose. There was no new charges or nothing.
What's he wanted for?
It's domestic violence.
In Florida, he's wanted for a couple different warrants on bond revocation for domestic battery by strangulation, violation of pretrial for domestic battery, violation of pretrial for domestic battery by strangulation, failure to appear for domestic battery, strangulation, and grant that.
That was back in
And it's been open for
12 years.
and you still won't go back?
No, we were gonna go back. That was the whole thing. I was in
The
Florida.
only thing I'm waiting for you to say is that you were abducted by aliens that prevented you
I'm
from.
not gonna lie to you, sir, but we were going back. When COVID hit, actually, I was in Florida. That's where we went from Michigan to Tennessee, then Tennessee down to Florida during the pre-COVID. and we were in, I think Pensacola. And we were there for like 3 months and we were waiting for the COVID to stop, but it just didn't end. So I ended up talking to a gentleman that had plenty of work for me across the country to go to all of his hotel properties to fix them and find out why they were failing, why were they not making any money and what was going on. So that's what I've been doing.
Does Florida
I am dying at the judge's response. The only thing I'm waiting for you to say is that you were abducted by aliens. This judge has clearly heard every excuse in the book. But let's break down what we just learned. This man has been running from domestic battery by strangulation charges for 12 years. We're not talking about a parking ticket. This is serious violent crime involving strangulation, which is often a predictor of future lethal domestic violence. And his excuse? COVID prevented him from going back to Florida. So, let me get this straight. He was in Florida, then left to travel the country fixing hotel properties while avoiding serious violent crime charges? This isn't about COVID stopping travel. This is about a man who chose to run rather than face accountability for allegedly strangling someone.
really want him? Are they going to come get him? Or are we just playing games here? You know, because if they really want to get him, I'm going to hold him. But if they're not going to come get him, then I'm not going to hold him. We have enough people in our jail as it is. So let's do this. The problem is, Mr. Nelson, you don't learn your lesson. You've repeatedly been arrested on this charge, and they've told you to go back, and you refuse to go back. So I can't, in good conscience, give you a bond when you refuse to comply with court orders.
I understand
You
that.
just don't want to do it. You want to do what you want to do. And then, hey, if I happen to get arrested, they're not going to come get me anyways. So
No, I don't say that at all.
you don't say it,
Right.
but your actions say
I
something
understand.
different.
I understand that. I do.
When people tell me stuff, it goes in this year, it goes in, what
I know.
matters are actions.
I understand.
So
With regards to Florida, I'm happy to check up on that. He does also have other warrants from other states. He has a probation violation from Michigan and also intimidation.
They're not coming.
scotching with states, man.
Oh, they already told the jail, they already made the call, they're not coming, they don't want nothing to do with me. That's already been
They don't
determined.
have a hold file right now, but he does have the other warrants.
And those are from 2009. And I served my time on all of it, but it's just,
So
I
let's do
understand.
this. Let's roll it to tomorrow. Please reach out to Florida and see, do you really want him? If you do, here he is. If not, can we, really?
We'll do that tomorrow.
thank you so much, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Nelson.
Hey, I love your show.
I don't have a show.
I watch on.
I like you
too.
Superstar.
We are approaching on Mr. Avalar.
Thank you. Okay.
And I believe defense wanted to ask about bond conditions, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor. So yesterday, I believe you gave him a $5,000 bond. He picked up a big offense for violating bond conditions. Your Honor, it turns out that the facts are that he had stayed away, his, the woman who he was in this issue with, her house caught on fire, burned to the ground. She called him, asked him for assistance. He said, hey, I don't know. I don't think I can be talking to you. And then 2 days later, she got into a car accident where her vehicle was totaled. And she said, please, I have nowhere to go. Can you help? He said, look, I'll help you find some place to go and I'll drive you there. And that's it. In the midst of driving her there, he was pulled over for no registration.
Calls Murphy's Law is what it's
And
called.
she said, I've got bad juju.
You know?
The state confirmed all this.
Yes, Judge, so
Go ahead and bring him out. Avalar.
Judge, the prosecutor on the case did call the complainant. She pretty much gave nearly the exact same story of her apartment burned down. She was just trying to get a ride. They have not had contact up until this point. So we are not ready to offer a plea today because it is a new case.
Sure.
But we are okay with the PR bond at this point, just given the circumstances and the facts.
What do we do about conditions?
Conditions, we would still like to keep that no contact in place. It seems like they didn't have an issue up until this point with it. So we would just reinstate that no contact.
I will ask for a short reset, Your Honor, but from speaking with the CW, she communicated to me that the whole thing was a misunderstanding. She feels safe around him, and honestly, she'd like for them to be able to have contact. The way she communicated to me, the initial situation was they were arguing, a police officer was coming by, so she flagged him down so she could stay away from him. And then while talking to the officer, she showed him, like, look at this message. He said he's going to do this to me. But that's in the course of how they normally communicate to each other. She didn't feel afraid. The officer just took it to that next
How about
step.
the assault we talking, happened in the assault?
So, Judge, I believe the case for us right now is a terroristic threat. So we're just looking at the terroristic threat
Morning.
charge.
That's jail.
And here comes our third case, and this one is absolutely heartbreaking. We've got a defendant who was following a no-contact order. His ex's house burns down. She begs for help. He initially says no because of the court order. But then her car gets totaled, and she has nowhere to go. So he decides to help her find a place and drive her there. Classic Good Samaritan behavior, right? But here's where Murphy's Law kicks in. He gets pulled over for no registration while helping her. And boom, bond violation. The defense attorney is right to call this Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong. Both the prosecutor and the alleged victim confirm this was a misunderstanding. She feels safe and wants contact restored. This shows the complexity of domestic cases where good intentions can still land you in jail.
It sucks, right? It's supposed to suck. That's what happens when you don't do what you're supposed to do. You can't do stuff on your own and think that good things are going to happen. It's what I was telling your lawyer. It's called Murphy's Law. What can happen will happen. I get that you may be trying to help someone, but a court order is a court order. And when you don't follow them, bad things happen. And that's why I'm saying, maybe it's divine intervention that like you get pulled over right on the day that you're trying to do this. So really, now both of them are in agreement for you to get a PR bond because really it's not a capital case. But you have to understand that court orders are court orders and they're still there. If you want them taken off, if you want to do something different, you have a lawyer and you ask a lawyer to help you out. But you just can't do stuff on your own and expect good things to happen. Now, state is still asking for you not to have contact with this person and as of right now. So I'm going to give you a PR bond now because they're both in agreement. I'm telling you now, you do this again, you will not get another one. I promise you on everything that's holy. Do you understand? If you want something, ask. We can always address it. We can always fix it. Just don't do stuff on your own. That's when it goes sideways.
Sir.
Give me questions. Okay, so I'll grant you a PR bond. We need it on both cases, I think, right? So do you mind filing a new no contact order now? No weapons, no contact. Don't for the moment. Perhaps time will heal all wounds. Perhaps after some time, after she speaks to the complaining witness, things can change. Just don't do it again. All right?
Judge, I believe there is a order for emergency protection in your queue. It was filed the 30th, so it should be in there. Do you want me to file another one?
It's 255-1405. That's the initial terroristic threat.
Yes, there was a protective order signed on February 13th.
And then
You okay with that?
he's made bond.
Okay, done.
Mine's January.
Made bond on the VPO already.
Oh, right. So we'll just leave, and I didn't do anything to the VPO. So we'll just give a PR bond on the terroristic threat.
Reinstate the PR bond.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And so just a reinstatement on the.
Whatever's easier.
Okay.
Are we good? Okay.
Thank you.
So hold on, let me take, okay, we're good. All right. Jason Fisher, right? Okay. So Mr. Fisher, you're charged with 2 cases. You're charged with driving while intoxicated. Second offense, you're also charged with failure to stop and give information. You have worked out an agreement where they're offering you 180 days in jail with 72 days credit on the DWI second, and they're going to dismiss, I would assume, the FSGI.
And there's a kind of felony that was keeping him in custody.
Got it. Is this what you want to do?
Now we come to our final case, And this judge is about to deliver one of the most powerful warnings I've ever heard. Mr. Fisher is facing his second DWI, plus a failure to stop and give information, which usually means he crashed and drove away. The plea deal, 180 days with 72 days credit, so he's looking at about 108 more days in jail. But listen to what the judge is about to tell him. This is the difference between rehabilitation and repeated tragedy. A second DWI with a crash is a huge red flag, and the judge knows that the next time could involve someone's death. This is where the rubber meets the road in criminal justice. Do we focus on punishment or prevention? The judge is about to give him the reality check that might save his life and others.
You need to understand, Mr. Fisher, that from now on, if you pick up any more DWIs, you'll be looking at yet another felony. We're not asking for much, man. All we want our streets to be safe. Here, we have a second DWI and a crash. What's it going to take? Kill someone? You know? If you want to end up with a 50-year sentence? Next time you ever get into a car and you get pulled over, all officers do is they look at your record, and that's all they care about. So if they pull you over, they see that DWI, FSGI, DWI, possession, and they come to you and they smell alcohol or dope. What do you think they're going to do? You think they're going to be nice? Probably not. Don't get into a car if you've had anything to drink. You understand? Are you sure? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. This will go on your record. It's going to be there for the rest of your life. You can never take it off. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
How do you plead to the offense of driving while intoxicated, second offense?
Guilty.
I will find you guilty. I am going to suspend your license for 2 years. Do not drive until you get a license. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. Good
What
luck.
an absolutely incredible journey through the American justice system. Let's break down what we just witnessed. First, we saw a career criminal with 47 pages of criminal history get denied bond, the judge prioritizing public safety over second chances when the evidence shows a clear pattern. Second, we watched a 12-year fugitive from domestic violence charges potentially get another day, while states figure out who actually wants him. Exposing serious flaws in interjurisdictional communication. And finally, we saw justice tempered with mercy, as a defendant's good intentions led to bond violations, but both parties agreed to move forward. These cases perfectly illustrate the impossible balance judges face daily: protecting society while allowing for human redemption, dealing with system failures while making split-second decisions that affect real lives. The real question is, are we doing enough to break these cycles of repeated offenses, or are we just processing the same people through a revolving door? If you found these cases as eye-opening and thought-provoking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments about which case surprised you most, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns. We've got more shocking cases coming your way that will challenge everything you think you know about justice.